The city might as well have not existed. Mav had a target, and no skyscraper, nor shopping plaza, nor sporting complex, nor little park, nor the hundreds of bars would slow him down. I defend the innocent. Mav approached a plaza. The next right led to his destination, the palace of the Sacred Skies Guild. No matter what happens to me, I defend the weak. Nothing will distract me from. Then he made the right. A garden filled most of the space. A single wide walkway split the massive lawn. On either side stood dozens, if not hundreds, of different kinds of flowers. Their reds, violets, yellows, and pinks contrasting the pure white sculptures that stood among them. The many figures struck heroic or intimidating poses. Little additions to the sculptures added to their wonder. Fire crackled at the feet or along the shoulders and arms of flame dancers. Water spouted from the fingertips or palms of wave leapers, forming fountains beneath them. Landshakers stood amongst outcroppings of stone, sand, and tree roots, all of which created swirling patterns around them. Small yet powerful fans blasted air in random directions around the windweavers. And two ethereal leaders, a man and a woman, sat back to back in the center of the garden in a meditative pose. Admirers wandered the garden, some wide-eyed and mouth agape, while others were merely appreciative of the garden's beauty, only dwarfed by what dominated the end of the plaza. Even at a glance, the Sacred Skies Palace was more impressive than the Eternal Effigies Manor. Its front was similar to many Titanian church designs. Soaring fluted columns, topped with capitals of floral arrangement, held aloft a portico which stretched the entire width of the plaza. A decorated pediment depicting several impressive people employing their gifts. Much smaller figures off in the corners held their arms out, palms upward towards the wielders, as if begging for or accepting whatever charity the wielders gave. Farther behind the entrance, a massive dome topped off the palace's roof. Plenty more statues stood along the edge of the roof and the dome, often near openings that allowed natural light to sink in. Mav found his jaw had slackened. He shook his head violently, then slapped himself twice on both cheeks. He had a mission, damn it! He forged ahead, eyes on the prize. But beyond the columns, the palace's doors were huge. Weaving patterns of gold glistened among the massive doorway, which opened to an atrium that— Focus, Mav, focus! But the atrium had a heated pool. A couple guild members leaned back, eyes closed in satisfaction as steam wafted above the room. The warm vapors gave the place a mystical aura, slightly obscuring the paintings which lined the wall. One such painting was of a gargantuan titan, likely one that held domain on the wall. Its looming face had scales which either darkened or glinted due to the firelight brewing in its maw. Its long wings spanned the width of the piece, forming a shadow that enveloped the watcher in its shade. Mav shivered, cheeks hurting from his grin. He could actually feel like he was on the wall. This incredible and horrifying creature bearing down on him. The way the artist utilized shading to— Damn it, Mav! He tore himself away from the painting, eyes narrowed on the long desk against the far wall. Several receptionists sat along it, receiving information from civilians to form contracts and doling out compensation to guild members who'd likely just completed one. A massive monitor to the left of the desk displayed the contracts, separated by open, ongoing, or closed. Two guild members scanned through dozens of open contracts, but only 3 were still ongoing. One of them dealt with a missing person. Mav couldn't remember names for the life of him, but it was hard for him to forget a face, especially when it mattered. The woman's picture displayed on the contract had the same face as one of the 23 missing persons, and the member who'd accepted the contract had his name displayed below it. Perfect. "Where's Michael Jones?" Mav asked the scrolling members. The shorter, skinnier one jumped. She looked Mav up and down, her folded eyes narrowing. "Why? He hasn't done anything wrong." Oh, right. Coda had informed him through their code that Mav was supposed to act like a tourist and accidentally come upon information. Sacred Skies likely had a security system with its own internal video database. That lawyer shouldn't have access to it, but she also shouldn't have access to Mav and Coda's comms. It was better to be sly and make conversations seem natural, to not give more fuel to the lawyer's fire. "No, he hasn't," Mav said. "I just, am a big fan of guilds. I wanted to ask him questions about what you guys do and stuff." A perfect recovery. They'd never suspect anything now. "A peacekeeper, a fan of guilds?" The other one, a buff man, said slowly. "Yeah," Mav said. "I'm a fan of a lot of stuff. You guys, gauntlets, noodles." The woman raised an eyebrow. one of those is very different from the others. But they all make me smile. They shared another look, then the man laughed.
If you like guilds, why not join one?
The man said.
You didn't have to sell your soul to the government.
Easy, the woman said, placing her hand on his elbow. I don't see it that way, Mav said. We're all here to help people. As a peacekeeper, I can do that and travel the country. It's a win-win.
But you gotta go where they tell you, and when they tell you,
the man said.
If you save up enough money in a guild, you can take vacation and travel wherever and whenever you want.
It doesn't matter really where I go, I just want to go. Jeb, stop trying to recruit a peacekeeper, the woman said.
I'm not. I'm laying out his options. Besides, we couldn't host a peacekeeper going AWOL.
Actually, I don't swear my oaths until next week.
Oh,
Jeb said.
In that case, want to join Sacred Skies?
Jeb, the woman said. They trained me for 2 years, Mav said. Taught me so much, I won't desert the peacekeepers. Besides, they told stories of deserters. People who trained as a peacekeeper but never swore the oaths. They were mocked and ridiculed by those who had once been siblings in arms, and found it next to impossible to use their gift in any beneficial way, since most places refused to employ deserters. Most eventually turned to a life of crime, and were hunted down and executed. The boss wouldn't accept a deserter anyway, the woman said.
Yeah, I know,
Jeb said.
So why do you want to talk to Michael? If you just want to learn more about the guild, we can tell you.
Mav had almost forgotten why he talked to them in the first place. Titans. This being smart business was hard. Oh, I heard about some of the stuff he's done, Mav said. So I wanted to ask him some questions about the place. They appeared doubtful, but Jeb slowly pointed towards the entrance.
He's in the pool, the guy on the left.
Mav thanked them, said goodbye, and charged across the hall. The man on the left side of the pool had black skin and a damp, small afro. His eyes were closed, face towards the water, looking relaxed. Casual Mav. He had to organically get information from this man, without it appearing he was looking for it. Be a tourist, act casual, but still maintain a level of professionalism expected from a peacekeeper. That was how he could discover what he was looking for. So, Mav jumped in the pool. Michael and the other guild members exclaimed at the sudden splash. What are you doing? Michael asked. I just wanted to talk to you, Mav said. Michael's mouth worked for a couple of seconds in silence. The other guild member, brow furrowed, slowly left the pool. Great! Now nothing could interrupt Mav. I'm a tourist, first time in town, Mav said to fill the silence. Real big fan of you guys, and I heard about some of your work, and I had a sudden and completely random, with no other motive in mind, thought to come and ask you about them. Has there been any recent work you've done that you found interesting? Michael began. You're not supposed to be in here. But the door was open. Michael blinked. The pool. Oh, sorry. It looked comfy, though. Is it? On my face. But the water doesn't go through the uniform. Keeps my heat in. Everything else out, you know? They wouldn't want me in Yarrow's waters freezing to death, would they? I suppose not. Wait, this pool's for guild members only? Isn't it? I am so sorry. Wait, Michael said as Mav made to leave. It's fine. It's also for invited guests and, you may enter the pool. Great! Mav plopped back down. Michael's bewilderment didn't lessen. If anything, he looked more confused that he invited Mav to stay in the pool. I've worked with peacekeepers before, Michael said, but I'll admit, I've never seen interrogation tactics like this. What? Mav scoffed. Interrogation? No. I'm just a simple tourist right now, having a casual conversation about something I'm interested in. Do you need anti-itch ointment or something? Keep scratching like that and you'll tear out all your hair. He had been scratching the back of his head again. Shit. If Michael discovered his lying tick, then Mav's mission was all but over. He had to play this off professionally. Oh no, I'm good, Mav said, forcibly removing his hand from his head and sitting on it. Why was his shoulder twitching now? Just think a bug bit me back there earlier. If you say so. Under the water, Mav made a celebratory fist. Mission was still a go. You did have lessons in interrogation, though, right? Michael said. Didn't pass a single one. You don't say. But this is just a normal conversation. I'm really curious about any work you've done, especially a recent contract. Michael gave Mav a long stare. Mav had seen others do this before. Whenever somebody was defensive around him, and whenever he talked with them, there was always a point when they reevaluated him, as if they were gauging whether they could trust him. You don't work with any particular tech company or legal firm, do you? Michael asked. No. Michael watched Mav's left hand, which made no sense. The back of Mav's head didn't feel remotely itchy. Michael's jaw set and he gave a little nod. All right. I started investigating a missing person 6 days ago. I learned quickly that 4 others had gone missing too. I investigated all of them, trying to find similarities between them. You find anything about the service vehicles? Michael chuckled and shook his head. After talking to the police, they didn't help much since they were preparing for the festival today. And I couldn't get much help from my own cohort for the same reason. But I eventually was allowed to look at some videos. Those service vehicles were the only clue I got. That took me a day to do. And by then, 3 more people had been kidnapped. I tailed one of the service vehicles the next day, but I didn't see them take anyone. Instead, they led me to a warehouse near the spire. But after some digging and owing a few favors to friends in high-up places, I learned that the government doesn't operate out of that warehouse. A conglomerate that owns a bunch of businesses in the city does. So, the next day I went to the branches to conduct some interviews. I felt like I was on the right track, then a lawyer told you to stop. A Miss Hicks was very thorough. Had signed documentation from that damned governor that this investigation would be handled by local peacekeepers, which they would begin in earnest after the festival. I offered my evidence, but she told me that I would not be necessary for the official investigation. But she said nothing about a casual conversation with an interested tourist. Exactly! And I am very interested in those companies you went to. Rosin Power, Grant Incorporated, Secker Research, and even Dustin Cosmetics of all places. They're in an impressive part of town, and pretty close to each other, except for Dustin. I recommend that you visit them. Mav squeezed the man's shoulder. Thank you for that interesting information. Michael nodded, a fire in his eyes. Good luck, casual tourist. I hope you enjoy these places.